Welcome to another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here at the News Forum, where all voices matter. Well, it's time for our monthly conversation with Thomas Caldwell. And he, of course, is the chairman of Caldwell Securities Limited in Toronto. Would love to catch up. Tom, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Tony.
Well, here we are. As we're recording this, just a few days ago, Mark Carney visited Washington, D.C., sat down with President Trump in the Oval Office there. They had a little conversation, and then Mr. Trump had a few things to say to the world after that. How do you analyze that? Were there any results that you saw, or is this part of an ongoing process? Where do you think things stand?
From what I see as a lay person, there are lots of meetings, lots of travels, Europe, England, etc., America, obviously. I haven't seen any results yet that I can say, that's a good thing to do, or I'm glad we've accomplished or achieved that. I'm still prepared to give Mr. Carney the benefit of the doubt. Let's see where these lead. We're coming up to a budget in November. Let's see where we go. I'm not going to jump on the guy just yet. We
Right.
definitely need changes. My major concern is, to quote the Simon Garfunkel song, "The Sounds of Silence." We're not hearing about the issue that I think is critical to most Canadians. That is, our taxes are too high. I mean, if you want to get economic growth, start there. You can
Mhm.
reduce interest rates all you want, but if people don't have confidence, you're like pushing on a string. You got to get people to borrow money to use it to set up enterprises. And, I think the problem here is our taxes are too high. We're losing really bright people. Our capital markets don't exist, that is for public companies anymore. We have fragmentation in a tyranny of minorities, if you will. We have a city that forgot the fact that economic progress and transportation go together. But let's talk about the federal side, though. The federal side, and they're caught because they got these monster deficits. Ergo, can you cut taxes
Right.
without creating horrendous deficits? But the problem is taxes. If you stopped any person on the street, I mean, normal people, I'm talking about the contributors, the people that actually work for a living as opposed to live off the fat of the land, if you will. Almost everybody will tell you, my taxes are too high. I was talking to an MPP recently, and they said how young people coming out of university are all socialists until they get their first check and they realize, wait a second, what's the government taking this much
Yeah.
for?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
They switch from socialist to conservative almost overnight, depending on that first payroll check.
Exactly.
So I think
Exactly.
that's the issue at hand, but their hands are tied unless you cut back on government and the intrusiveness of government. Governments aren't going to solve our problems. They create the problems.
No, I hear you on that. I hear you, and I do want to talk about the budget coming up from the federal government in a second. First, Mr. Trump has been very clear. Tariffs are here to stay. That's what he says. I agree with him. I don't think he's going to be moving off them. There might be a question of severity of tariffs, but tariffs, as I say now, is a feature, not a bug. So, what is the impact for Canada on that? What do you make of that statement? And that's our future. In some form, tariffs are going to remain, right?
I think so, but I don't see Trump as a problem, really. I see him as a catalyst for change. We've got lazy, complacent over many, many years, spending money frivolously, not really considering what has made us strong as a country that is building and creating and accomplishing things. We've, again, been living off the fat of the land, and all of a sudden, somebody gives us a rude awakening saying, hey, we're not your pals. And no, we're not responsible for your economic well-being. You are. And all of a sudden, our laxity, if that's a word, over all these years comes home to roost. So he's presenting Canada with a grow-up call. This country is so rich in people, in talent, in resources of every variety. We can't be whining about, oh, the Americans aren't treating us nicely. I mean, we've known that for years. I always keep joking, we're talking about this gold dome and, protect the North and we have to have our defenses in the Arctic strong. Our enemy in the Arctic is not the Russians. They're not going to invade Baffinland. Our real enemy in the Arctic is the Americans. They want control of the art
They
of the
do.
shipping channels.
Yeah, they sure do.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, it's like Singapore. The guns weren't pointed the wrong way.